John T is in St. John's Wood. John T, on the air.
Hey, Matt, best program on LBC by a mile. But...
Oh, thank you very much. The check is very much in the post.
So listen, what I'm about to say, probably no one will agree with me, but I have to say it.
Go on. You're free to air your opinions as long as they're not rude.
No, they're not rude. Listen, I'm a Jew, and I'm not persuaded by the moral or spiritual legitimacy of the state of Israel, okay? So that already puts me in a big minority.
Yeah.
However, given the establishment of the state of Israel, the number one responsibility of a leader, any leader, Netanyahu or anyone else, is to protect his people and protect his borders. And therefore, and this is why there will be no turning point in this war for this week. This is just another tragic anecdote amongst a million other tragic anecdotes since literally 1900 or 1890 when the Zionists first started trying to populate the land of Palestine. Given that the state of Israel exists, he has to destroy Hamas. He's got no choice. This idea that you can't destroy an idea is nonsense. He's not trying to destroy the wine. He's trying to destroy the wine bottle so that no one can drink this poison in the Gaza Strip and organize themselves politically and militarily against Israel. It is completely legitimate, given the state of Israel exists, and it's completely feasible. I don't understand why people question this, that Israel has the capacity to destroy Hamas. And while I do agree that Israel should make efforts to limit civilian deaths, there is no such thing as proportionality, and there is no such thing as a limit on civilian deaths. When you have a fight for your own existence on your hands, you can compare it to the Second World War. We didn't stand back and say, oh, we can't destroy Nazism. We never destroyed Nazism. It exists today. But we destroyed the ability of any Nazi to project power militarily against the existential interests of the United Kingdom. And to that extent, so the only argument is, and I don't know the answer to this final question, is are you creating more hatred that will incur more violence in the future, or are you incapacitating the ability of that hatred to convert itself into military means to be a threat to your existence? On balance, I think they have to go for the latter, even if they cause more hatred. Because again, the argument could be used in the Second World War. You're just going to upset the Germans more, make them more humiliated, and have another war against Germany in the future. So I don't think the Israelis, given the establishment of the state of Israel, have it. And this is why, by the way, while Netanyahu is not popular, the war is fully backed by Israelis. And if you look at polls of Arab Israelis, and that's even non-Christian Arabs, around 27% support the war. And here's the final point. The West has to grow up and understand that war is war, and our weaknesses and our sensitivities regarding war around the world, whether it's Ukraine, Gaza, or Taiwan, is going to make more war likely.
Okay, you've said a lot of interesting things there. John T, that was a very articulate exposition of lots of really interesting points, many of which many other listeners would disagree with, including some of them myself. But I just want to mention one thing, and then we've got to wrap it up, unfortunately, for the hour. You mentioned the example of Germany, and it's fascinating to me that at the very beginning of the October the 7th war, Israeli diplomats and politicians were saying, well, what about Dresden? You bombed Dresden and no one raised an eyebrow. But I think, we'd like to think that we've moved beyond the Dresden days where, 120,000 people were killed in one night or a couple of nights of aerial bombardment, mainly by the Brits. And most of those people were refugees from other parts of Germany. But the reason why Germany worked as a democratic nation after World War II was because while there was complete and ruthless defeat of a ruthless, Nazi dictatorship, there was always also the hope of reconstruction. Through the Marshall Plan, through kind of the bolstering of democratic institutions. And the point that I keep making, and Gershon Baskin is also one who makes it all the time, is that unless you give, and many other Israelis, by the way, unless you give the Palestinians some horizon of dignity in the future of how to organize their own affairs, this ain't going to go away. Briefly.
Reconstruction.
You've got 10 seconds, sorry.
Reconstruction follows destruction.
Yeah, of course it does. And what follows now is silence. John T, thank you very much. That was very brief, almost too brief, but I appreciate your call. Thank you very much.